The Vietnam War seems to have no ending, and the people are growing anxious in efforts to stop U.S. involvement. The space race has caused an increase in education in youth. Civil Rights Act of 1964 and 1968 created equal opportunities for all races. A new genre of music has appeared relevant in the new social culture of America's society. Woodstock was a 3-day event from August 15th through the 18th in 1969. It was a festival of peace and music. Woodstock was made possible by Michael Long, John Roberts, Joel Rosenman, and Artie Kornfeld's ideas. Roberts and Rosenman financed the project.
Woodstock was a partnership to produce money for a new recording studio. The partnership was made by Joel and John's lawyer, Mile Lowry. Unlike Artie and Michael, John and Joel were from an Ivy League, while Artie and Michael were hippies. Out of the 4 men, only Michael had experience on throwing a rock festival. The planning to the first day of Woodstock took 9 months. John and Joel funded this event, costing each act around $12,000 each. Due to Wallkill, New York residents taking away the grant for them to use their land, Max Yasgur would let them use his 600-acre land for the price of $75,000. With knowing that drugs would be prevalent at the festival, they brought the hog farm, which fed and dealt with the bad acid trips and other drug-related issues. A day before the festival, the deal with the New York Police Department fell through, leaving them without security. Then one officer brought 300 policemen with fake names and would only be paid in cash to work this event 2 days before Woodstock. People were already showing up and camping out in the fields, which led to the problem of choosing to collect money or not. It eventually turned into a free festival in order to keep the peace and prevent a riot from breaking out.
By the time Woodstock was up and running, close to 500,000 people had showed up. At this time, Joel and John were afraid of riots breaking out due to the events happening during the civil rights protests in Chicago. But their partners, Artie and Michael, experienced the peace and togetherness of the audience. The 3 days was more to the audience. Despite the rain, all stayed with the issue of electricity and possibility of getting electrocuted. Bathroom facilities weren't able to get serviced. The lack of food sources had stayed there for 3 days. By the second day, Joel and John made sure all bands would play a double set due to the weather and constant fear of riot.
Governor Nelson Rockefeller threatened to have 10,000 national troops to break up the festival, but Joel was able to talk him out of his decision, and the festival went on without government involvement. Out of 500,000 people at this peaceful festival, only 2 died of an overdose and the other by a tractor accident. After Woodstock, Joel, John, Artie, and Michael, and more others, had to face the reality of the free concert. $1.64 million in debt for Joel and John, and they faced around 80 lawsuits. Multiple were dismissed, and many were settled. To recover from debt, they took $1 million in cash from Warren Brothers for the documentation of Woodstock. The partnership fell through, starting with Michael and then Artie. Joel and John resented them for the mistrust that they put on that situation those days.
When you produce one of these shows, there's some highlights and there's some lowlights.
I kind of wanted to give you a picture of what it was like. New York, where it is, it's very like in the woods. It was a big open field, and then there was trees all around. And on this hilly, it's kind of went an incline, grassy field is where everybody just was sitting there, laying there. In the front was, of course, where the mosh area was. Back towards the back was where all the vendors were to sell alcohol and water and things, but mainly the alcohol was what people were drinking. There was Porta Johns and things to that nature. There was a time where I actually fell asleep on the side of the bank, and there was people, they had sprinklers going because it was quite hot that day. And when I fell asleep on the bank, I woke up covered in watery and mud and things because they were all playing in the water to keep cool. But I just wanted to kind of paint you a picture of how it was.
During the 1990s, there were many bombings and threats made against the American citizens. On February 23, 1993, the World Trade Center was bombed, killing 6 people and injuring 1,040 people. In 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing happened. In 1996, the Centennial Summer Olympics was bombed in Atlanta. This would be a perfect time to have a peaceful festival. In the 1999 Woodstock 2 was created for the 30th anniversary of the original one. Unfortunately, it did not end the way the first one did.
I would say my friends would call me a partier at that time in my life. The environment was definitely a party environment, that's for sure. There was a lot of drinking and a lot of smoking of marijuana, which would be passed just around the crowd. There was definitely dancing and mosh pitting.
The legacy of Woodstock 99, the 3-day music festival in upstate New York, disintegrated into a melee of vandalism and destruction on its final night, growing uglier amid allegations that several women were raped during the event. A New York State police spokesman confirmed that detectives investigated reports of 4 rapes at the festival in Rome, New York, and workers said that they witnessed many more, and several of these sexual assaults took place in the mosh pit, the extremely crowded area in the front of the stage where audience members danced to the music by thrashing around and deliberately bumping into each other. Sandy Lattimore, emergency services director of the Rome office in the American Red Cross, said that she had treated victims of sexual assaults that had taken place at the mosh pit. "These things have left scars on these girls," she said. "I don't know why it had to happen. I don't know where it went wrong."
Many people blame the festival for creating a lineup that would rage on the mosh pit and create adrenaline and anger in the audience rather than providing peaceful acts to commemorate Woodstock. But in all reality, could Woodstock ever be recreated as well as it was in '69 with the different atmosphere and the new taste for music as it evolved into the new anger and aggression that it became? Who knows?